animal care facility that provide our tigers with the care they need to live their own healthy life. The primary purpose of Tiger Island is to raise awareness of the real threat of extinction of tigers in the wild. Through education and fundraising, we can make a positive change to their future. The Dreamworld Wildlife Foundation is the world's largest contributor of money to the globally recognised 21st century tiger, an organisation dedicated to giving wild tigers a future. Thank you for being here and helping us save tigers.
All right, how about a big round of applause for our amazing Tiger Stars and our handlers as they make their way out to the island. Now, leading today's presentation, we have Brian, who will be introducing everyone in just a moment. But first, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Tiger Island. We are so glad that you could join us here today to witness some truly amazing natural tiger abilities and hopefully learn a thing or two about what could be the most important conservation message facing the world today. Now, my name is Wildlife Al, and they call me that here at Dreamworld because, well, I love animals. Now, who else here loves animals? Put your hands in the air if you love animals! Alright, that is so good to see because the animal kingdom needs people just like you who are going to look after them and ensure that they survive. Especially like this beautiful creature right here. Now, speaking of beautiful creatures, over to you, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks, Wildlife. Again, guys, welcome down to Tiger Island. As you can see, we've got one of our beautiful tigers out for you, and hopefully this afternoon we're going to demonstrate some natural behaviours that you will see from tigers out there in the wild. And I do say hopefully because we will simply only ask and encourage the tiger to be involved and then reward him with his favourite food. So you'll notice on the side of the handler, there's a big metal pouch. Inside that pouch is full of delicious treats and rewards. Today on offer, we've got some frozen milk from the carton, and the tiger's favourite raw meat. Alright, so to introduce the star of the show, we have got the very beautiful Khan out for you guys this afternoon. He's actually the youngest tiger in our collection. He celebrated his 4th birthday about a month ago. He's also one of the biggest. Currently weighs in at a whopping 160 kilograms. So here's one big tiger, and he's going to be working with Daniel this afternoon, and we have got Scott in the back, making sure everything goes nice and smoothly. Now guys, we have learned over the years, your reaction and response is also a really great reward for the tiger. So, if you see something that you enjoy, make sure you let Khan know. Lots of clapping, shouting, cheering, screaming, whatever you want to do. So how about on that note, we start off with a nice big round of applause for the star of our show. Alright, so that frozen milk is going to go back into the pouch for now. We're going to start the first series of behaviours where we're just using milk as the reward. Guys, this first one, it's pretty impressive. We called it a rise, and it looks like this. Feel free to give these two a bit of a hand, guys. Now this afternoon, you can see we're demonstrating the traditional Tiger Island rise. Out there in the wild, they're going to do this behaviour on the sides of trees. It's going to give them a great opportunity to get out of reach scent markings, but also to rake their very powerful sharp claws down the trunk of that tree. Now, not only does this feel good, it stretches out tendons and ligaments, but it also helps them lose that outer layer of claw to then expose those new sharp claws. And this will leave a visual indicator on the tree. Once again, scent glands in between the pads of their paw will leave a scent marking for other tigers to find. Now, you're probably looking at Dan there thinking, looks pretty tough, holding up 160 kilos on his shoulder like it's nothing. It's not really the case in this situation. These tigers, they can actually hold their entire body weight up onto their back legs. Yeah, guys, give them another clap. Into what we call a free stance or a fight stance position. Now, Khan's not going to demonstrate the fight stance today. He does take that behaviour a bit too literal. But out there in the wild, what they're going to do, up onto those back legs, that's going to free up those powerful front paws, which will then enable them to strike and knock their opponent off balance to deliver a killing bite with their very large and impressive canine teeth, the killing tool of the tiger. Now with me, I just happen to have a plastic replica of one of these canine teeth. For an adult tiger, it is roughly 12 to 14 centimetres in length. Pretty impressive, right? Here at Tiger Island, we're lucky enough to show you the real deal, and you'll notice that Dan will now present Khan's teeth simply with his hands and a bit of milk as the reward. Now this is something the tigers are super comfortable with. We do it from quite a young age. It's a pretty important behaviour to be able to give them a quick mouth inspection. Now if you guys have a keen eye, you'll notice that you can only see half of that tooth. The root of the tooth is embedded deep into the tiger's skull, and ultimately that's what gives it their strength. The teeth located right at the back of the jaw are what we refer to as the carnassial teeth, and they're the ones that are used like shears or scissors to slice off chunks of meat that are then swallowed whole. See, tigers, they don't chew or grunt at their food like we do. We've got that sideways movement of our bottom jaw. Tigers, they can only move their jaw up and down in one direction, just like your dogs and your cats at home. And this movement allows for a much greater bite force, which is roughly 6 times stronger than our own. Guys, this does bring us to the end of the milk behaviours. I think Khan and Dan deserve one more round of applause. I'll pass it back over to you, Raphael.
Thank you, Ryan. All right, folks, now let's take a little step back in time and look at the history of these beautiful animals. A century ago, in Southeast Asia, a series of tragic events started to take place that began the decline of the wild tiger population. You see, 100 years ago, there were more than 100,000 tigers roaming wild through Asia. Today, that number is less than 4,000. Sadly, that number is still dropping. You see, as human populations grew, it displaced tigers from their natural habitat, which meant it was kind of inevitable that a human-tiger conflict was going to occur. Now, some of the footage behind me here can be quite confronting, but it does well to demonstrate the impact that humans have had on tigers in the wild. Now, we will touch on that and more a little later in the presentation, and all the wonderful work we're doing right here at the Dreamworld Wildlife Foundation. But for now, I think it's time to jump into the next series of behaviours.
Great choice of words by Raphael as Khan launches across the platforms. Here we go, guys. Let's give him some encouragement. Now, believe it or not, that is a pretty simple jump for a tiger. It's only 3 metres from one platform to the next. They're actually capable of jumping distances of up to 6 metres. Out there in the wild, that's when they're going to be chasing down their prey. But we have measured jumps to that extent out here. And if you guys were wondering, the distance across the moat in front of you is 6 metres and 1 centimetre. So you're perfectly safe that we haven't had a tiger jump out for months now. All right, watch Khan on these last couple of jumps. Watch his tail. It does a lot of the work. He's going to flick it forward, over his back. That's just going to give him that extra bit of forward momentum, that extra bit of motion, just making that jump just that little bit easier. And you'll notice when he does these jumps, he'll go right from the edge of that platform and he'll just make it to the next one. Guys, they really like to conserve their energy. Just like your cats at home, they can be quite lazy. Out there in the wild, it's pretty important as well because they really don't know when that next meal is going to be. Now, this is going to be Khan's final jump, guys. He's a little bit distracted out there today, but I think we'll give him a bit of a clap for that one. He's put in an excellent effort. Alrighty. We're going to slow things down a bit now. We're going to move to our next method of training. It's a bit more of a formal training technique the tigers use, and it's something that we refer to as mark training. So you'll notice that Dan's just picked up these mark boards, and essentially they're just square bits of wood. Now those mark boards then placed onto the ground and used as an indicator of position for the tigers. So Khan knows if he goes and walks up, places those 2 front paws on those boards, he will be rewarded for it. Yeah, guys, give him a clap. Now, it's quite a simple training method we use. As you can see, they like to get involved. It takes very little effort to receive that food. For us as keepers, it's super useful when doing any health checks on the tigers. So, things like taking blood samples, temperatures, yearly vaccinations. We can even do more complicated procedures like x-rays and ultrasounds on the tigers whilst they're fully awake and alert. You can also see Khan is quite capable of moving from point A to point B with a simple hand cue or verbal command. And this has helped us over the years when the tigers have been involved in various types of media work. So, things like TV shows, commercials, feature films. It's one of the ways we raise extra money for tiger conservation to help those wild tigers. Wildlife out, he mentioned it a bit before. Unfortunately, these beautiful animals, they are not doing so great out there in the wild. With less than 4,000 now remaining, they are considered an endangered species. And the 2 biggest threats they currently face, habitat loss and poaching. Believe it or not, their body parts are still being used in traditional medicine. And whilst there's demand for these body parts, tigers are going to continue to remain under threat. Now, through the Dream World Wildlife Foundation and from donations from people such as yourselves, we are able to help organisations that go out there in the wild to help educate people about tiger and human conflicts, but also that tiger body parts, they have no medicinal benefit. We're currently sponsoring some anti-poaching patrols over in Far Eastern Russia and Sumatra, and it's pretty devastating to see the illegal activity that's still going on to this day. However, this is where your money is being spent. It's great to see the amazing work the rangers are doing out here in the field. Now, this is work we're quite passionate about. If you guys do want to get involved today, there are a couple of ways you can. Easiest way possible. You'll notice there's a couple of donation boxes scattered around the front of the island. If you've got any spare change, pop it in those boxes. 100% of the money will go towards tigers in the wild. If it doesn't go towards tigers like Khan, Dream World already does a pretty good job of that. If not, you can jump on our website. You can help through an online donation or through the Adopt a Tiger program, where again, all of those fees will go towards wild tigers. Now, that's a bit of a mouthful. It is the more serious side of what we actually do here at Tiger Island. However, you guys came this afternoon to see some pretty spectacular behaviours, right? And you have been a little bit quiet. So, I would like to hear, in your loudest voices, who out there wants to see a tiger climb this tree? You guys are in luck today. We have one of our best tree climbers. I'm not talking about Daniel over there, I'm talking about Khan. So get your cameras ready and focused on that climbing pole. He usually doesn't muck around. Was originally thought tigers can't climb, but as you can see, they are variable climbers, guys. Let's give it up for Khan. That was amazing. So that's about an 8 or 9 metre pole, and I think that he did that in about 3 and a bit stride, so pretty impressive stuff. And this is what makes Khan one of our best tree climbers. He has the sense of mind to shimmy all the way down to a nice safe distance before he lets go. Yeah, give him another clap, guys. That was pretty cool. You guys take note while he's up there, that upper body strength. Tigers, they need this when it comes down to taking down their prey in the wild. Things up to 5 times the size of them. Alright, we're going to move to our next behaviour now, and it's one that Khan, he's still kind of working on. We don't always do it in the show, so we're going to kind of use it as a training practice today. It's something that we refer to as the log jump. So in theory, hopefully Khan is going to launch off that log that he's sitting behind for a piece of chicken on the end of the bamboo pole. So you can see that Dan's just getting him ready in position. He's kind of staying down in that position. It's one of the first behaviours that all the tigers learn. It's just to wait patiently. And you can see I'll get rewarded for a bit of meat for waiting patiently as well. So Dan's got that juicy bit of chicken out on that bamboo pole. Again, the same reward as climbing this pole over here. So it's a bit more of a reward for the energy that he's going to be using. And it's really up to Dan whenever he's ready. Hopefully a nice big jump to the air. So get your cameras ready and focused on that log just in front of Khan. Here we go, nice big jump! Guys, that was pretty impressive. We'll give him a nice big clap for that one. Alright, we're not quite done yet. One more behaviour, guys. Hopefully Khan's going to show you how he's our scuba cut this afternoon. Now normally we like to let that piece of chicken sink to the bottom, but he's super keen, guys. I think we'll give him one more round of applause. Not about
Now folks, that does bring us to the end of today's presentation. We are so glad that you could join us here today at Tiger Island to witness these truly amazing natural tiger abilities, and hopefully you have learned a thing or two about this very important conservation message. Now before you go, we have one more message for you up on the big screen.
Terima kasih atas bantuan dalam pelestarian harimau Sumatera.
Thank you for joining us here today at Tiger Island. Enjoy the rest of your day right here at Dream World.
Guys, we're going to try for a couple more jumps into the pool. So if you want to get a bit closer to the action, you're more than welcome to come to the front now. We just ask if you can please walk around the railings. Please don't step over. Thanks, guys.
Okay, well there's definitely more than that on your side.